Hey folks, I am back once again. Hello. I decided to maybe spruce up the videos a little bit here. Live from the presidential debate facility, because it's tonight, right? Presidential debate tonight. Usually I do live stream, but I just can't. I'm just too tired. I can't stay up late for all that nonsense. But welcome back. It's been a while since I've done a political video. I had a lot of fun doing the Biden videos and making all of you so upset because you know how to be a rhetorician better than I do, which I think is very funny. And the one guy who was like, "You're the reason I dropped out of college." That guy was funny, but I don't think these people are going to be watching this. Anyway, it was great. I like all the comments. But I'm not going to do a live stream of the debate tonight, even though I set up for it, just because I'm too tired to stay up too late. It's just not going to be very good, but I'll probably do a video tomorrow about it and post it. But tonight I wanted to do a guide of kind of what to look for. Since every other journalist on the planet is doing how to watch the debate or what the debate is going to consist of, let me give you a rhetorical kind of look at it. Now, I did a video previously of what I think that presidential debate should look like, and people were like, they didn't like that one either. They said, oh, in theory, I agree with you, but presidential debates are about optics, da-da-da. Well, they don't have to be. There's nothing normative about what the Commission on Presidential Debates has done or created, or there's nothing normative about it. It's just that they just were kind of like, okay, let's just do this event because Newton Minow says it's good to have the two candidates on stage answering questions. But who's he? What does he know about communication and debate? Very little. And now that he's passed away, his organization is collapsing. So now we have media-hosted debates. ABC News is doing this one. So it's a whole different thing. And I feel like the debates feel different. But I thought I would go over my rubric once again for looking at presidential debates. Also, I put up the green screen because of the guy who was like, your decor looks terrible. People, you guys are like, I don't know. You don't pay attention very well. Or you look at the wrong stuff. You look at the weird stuff. But I don't know. I'm just happy you watch the videos, quite honestly. So anyway, here's how to watch tonight's debate between Kamala and Donald. There are 4 terms that I like to use. So the first thing you're going to look for, and you don't have to look for these in this order. You can look for these in all kinds of different orders. So the first term is I call framework, which is a description of the world as it is. The Latin for that is the status quo. So whatever the status quo is, however they describe the world, is a place where you can kind of judge and evaluate how well they're doing in the debate. Now keep in mind, they only have like 2 minutes to answer the questions or to make the statement. In the June 27th debate, Donald Trump and Joe Biden didn't have any problem using very little of the 2 minutes. In fact, Jake Tapper had to be like, you have a minute left. You have 40 seconds left. It was kind of crazy. That was unheard of. Usually they talk way over the time limits. Must be a new era of presidential debates or something. But anyway, they only have 2 minutes to do all of this. But these are the places where you can find purchase or find buy-in to make a critical appraisal of what the candidates are saying in the debate. So, framework. This is how they describe our current situation, how they describe the world we're in, their shared reality, our world. How do they see reality? Now remember, most people say that's what reality is. It's a combination of their perception and their preference. And a lot of times it leads not to reality, but to a preconception, which people articulate as the truth. And that's sort of how we communicate when we're trying to persuade each other, is we say, well, what I've experienced and seen, da-da-da, and you can't deny my experience. So this is the truth of the world. I've seen this because I'm older than you, or because I've had these experiences you haven't had. This is the way people argue in a descriptive way. Maybe it's not the best, or maybe it's not an ideal form of argument like philosophy would have, but this is what people do. So the candidates are human beings. They're going to do the same thing, and they're going to say, this is what the reality is. And you always have to kind of step back from that. Even if you support that candidate, you have to step back in order to say, well, is this their preconception, which is a combination of their experiences and their perception. And any uncontroversial statements about the world that they make are going to be the framework. Now, you might agree with these right away, but what this rubric helps you do is pause and say, why do I agree with that right away? Is that correct? What evidence do we have for that being the way the world is? Is that accurate? Is that something that I feel like is a good argument? Is that a good claim? Is that reasonable to believe that? And I think that will help you be able to judge between them on that level. But that's not just the only thing that they will talk about or could talk about. Let me get my little laser pointer out. Principle. They will talk about things they won't compromise on. A principle is something that we hold so dear we would not compromise on it, and it helps us make difficult decisions. So my principles help me in a time of crisis or a time of temptation or a time of a hard decision, what the right thing to do is. When there are multiple attractive actions I could take or multiple attractive judgments I can make on a situation, a principle helps you through that. So what's something the candidate won't compromise on? They'll say that. They'll say, I believe at the bottom of my heart, America is about blah, blah. Or I absolutely think the key to American prosperity is this. That's a principle. Also, anytime they talk about paramount values, moral principles, or ethical standards, things that that are the superstructure or the toolbox for difficult choices and difficult judgment, that's a principle statement and a starting point from which we would make a difficult judgment. So a lot of times candidates will do these things in order. They'll say, we live in a world of constant threats of war, but I'm someone who believes in freedom and democracy. So that's their principle, right? They've said it. What comes next? What comes after principle? Their vision. Well, what are they going to do about it? They have their description of the world and what they see is operating in the world. They have their principle, their uncompromising value, or their toolbox from which judgments are made. So what are they going to do with it? What will they do when they're elected? What do they plan to do as the president? And how will it be approached, and what steps will they take? Who will they talk to? Who will they bring in? And who else needs to buy in? So, on the principle point, you can easily critique them and say, well, those aren't very good values, and here's why. Or those aren't good principles from which to judge, and here's why. And you can make arguments in your head against them, and it might help you understand the candidate a little bit better and see who you resonate a bit more if they have very different principles than you, or if you were facing a judgment like that about what to do about Gaza and Israel, or what to do about economic relationship with China, or what to do about inflation and monetary policy. Where would you start? What would be that toolkit you'd go to for principles on that? If it's similar, then you have someone who thinks similar to you, and maybe you should vote for them. The vision is that a good plan? Does that plan make sense? Does that plan connect with the framework and the principle? Is that a good plan? And this one, who else needs to buy in? I think that's a good sign if people say, I'm going to bring in these experts, these industry leaders, or these elements of the government who we should consult. Like working with Congress is a big one here. Okay, so working with Congress would support a principle where they want to be bipartisan, or they want to bring in all kinds of different parties, all kinds of different people. And then action. What have they done in the past that shows they can do the job? What have they done that shows that they can act in this way? And what have they done that shows they won't compromise on their principle? And what efforts have they done in the past that show that this plan would work? What have they done in life that makes them suited for the job? Do you see how I did that little surprise reveal there? Not really. That was just a mistake in OBS here. What have they done in life that makes them suited for the job? So action is usually not the action they will take, but actions they've done in the past that serve kind of in a presidential debate as the evidence that you can believe all these other points. So I thought I would leave you with that since I'm not doing the live stream. And I probably won't get to do a video until maybe tomorrow morning after I watch the debate and put some clips and kind of talk about my thinking on the debate from the position of rhetoric and someone who studies argument and rhetoric. But I think these four terms, framework, vision, principle, action, really kind of help you figure out places to agree and disagree with the candidates in the debate instead of this kind of vague, I think they did a good job, or I think they used more facts than the other person. That's not a way to evaluate any kind of debate. That's not a way to evaluate someone whose job is not going to be assembling facts. When you're the president, you have all of the best information possible about the world. It doesn't matter. The facts come from someone else. It's about your judgment and your commitment to a pattern of judgment that would work to address issues in a world that you've described appropriately. Your vision of the world isn't insane or crazy or lopsided in some way. Your principles aren't corrupt or sketchy. What do you stand for? And I think both Trump and Harris will talk about their principles. I think they will describe a world that's in a lot of trouble. I think they'll describe reality for families that's in a lot of trouble. And then they'll have a plan. And then they'll talk about what they've done in the past that makes it good. How persuasive are they? How convincing are they? That's what you've got to look at in tonight's debate. So see if those 4 terms help you. Leave in the comments if you used it and if anything popped out for you that was different than just watching the debate the way the media would have you watch it. And I'll see you tomorrow for the next video.